And welcome in another Saturday morning coaches show. I'm Rusty Nixon. In a few minutes, we'll start our trip around Marshall County, talking to all the area football coaches about their matchups last night. Let's take a look at the scores. First of all, it was Triton over Southern Wells by a final of 60-28. Lebanon defeated CMA 39-19. LaVille had a shutout first round game with Culver, won that one 35-0. It was Calumet over Glen 42-23. Plymouth moves on with a win at South Bend, Washington 44-23, the final there. And Bremen, a shutout of Whiting, moves on to round two with a win of 34-0. Stay tuned just a moment. We'll start off with Andy Dorrell, the head coach at Culver Academy, listening to the Max 98.3 Saturday Morning Coaches Show.
It deserves more than just coffee. It deserves Bigby coffee. From velvety lattes to our famous sweet foam cold brews, every sip is brewed with love, laughter, and a splash of fun. All first responders and veterans receive a free brewed coffee and 20% off their entire order. Students and teachers receive 10% off with a valid school ID. Have the best day ever by stopping in to your family favorite local coffee shop where every cup comes with a smile and every day starts brighter. Stop in today and let's make it a big day. Bigby Coffee, have the best day ever, located on Columbus Drive in Plymouth.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana, serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
And we lead off this morning with Andy Dorrell, the head football coach at Culver Academy. Home game last night, but a tough way to end the season. Lebanon gets the win there. I mean, talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of our guys, how hard we played. We had a great game plan going in. They executed well. We scored first, took the opening possession down the field and scored, missed the extra point. They answered with a score, missed their extra point. So still 6-6 early on. And they scored to make it. They missed their extra point, made it 12-6. Then we scored, missed our extra point, made it 12-12. So, it was a really good game, well played the first half, a couple of little miscues on each side. And they scored one more before half to go up 18-12. And then we had a goal line stand right to end the second quarter. So halftime it was 18-12, and then opened the second half, and we recovered an onside kick. And so had great momentum, but proceeded to go 3 and out. And couldn't do anything with that good field position, and really struggled offensively the rest of the night. Defensively, we just tried to contain their dynamic running back and quarterback, and it was just at the end of the night too much for us, and we were able to not emerge with the win. But the game plan that we had, the way the kids played, I was just so proud of them and their effort.
Talk about this a little bit, too, because this seems like we've had a lot of the same conversation over the course of the year that, you were right with them early. And then, as the game goes on, it's like you wear down a little bit. I mean, the second halves tended to be a problem. I mean, did they do anything different in the second half, or was it just they executed?
They threw the ball more in the second half, kind of exposed our secondary a little bit, and their quarterback was on point, made some great throws. Their receivers were big physical receivers that ran well after the catch. But it came down to this, is that we got a number of guys playing both ways, and they didn't. They had none. In fact, I caught myself looking at during warm-ups. They were running Scout O and Scout D in pregame at the same time. That's how many guys they had. And I don't know if I've seen that before, to be honest with you. But regardless, the way our kids played and just so many young kids played great last night. And our seniors, Ainsley Ritchie was phenomenal again. Um, just to see these guys play so hard for each other and just battle to try and extend the season one more week. And unfortunately, it's not going to be the case.
That makes such a huge difference. And I know, you hear all the old time guys talk about, wow, I used to play on special teams too, and I never came off the field. But that's tough to do the way the game's played.
Yeah, the way it's played today, it certainly is. Kids are bigger, faster. The game plans are more sophisticated, and it does make it tough. But I just can't say enough about Ainsley Ritchie. What a warrior he is, and he scored 2 touchdowns, he had a pass breakup, a couple long runs. He's playing injured. He came out of the game, then he went back in the game. Just a phenomenal young man that really is going to deserve some postseason awards, just the way he competes and plays. And we're fortunate that he was able to wear the maroon and white for us this year.
Yeah, I know he's been. He helped you last year as well. I mean, he's had a nice career there.
Yeah, he certainly has. And again, great young man. He's here for all the right reasons. He's a high academic kid and just motivated, good team leader, and has the respect of a lot of people on campus, obviously amongst our team.
Talk about your other seniors too. I mean, they've meant a lot to the program over the years. I'm sure you want to give them a shout out.
Yeah, I mean, Owen at quarterback, my own son, really, really proud of him and how he's developed. He's had 2 ACL surgeries, broken hand, and he came out this year and only threw for 1,400 yards and rushed for a couple hundred. So for him to overcome what he's done in his career and be a great leader on this team is tremendous. Couple linemen, Neil Marquell, Connor Turner. On the defensive side, Palmer Lupian. You got to win with those guys up front, and they really played their best game of the season last night. Jack Chaney, again, a name that some of your listeners will know.
Yeah.
Just a tremendous young man who is a gritty competitor. He had a touchdown catch last night, another big catch, late in the game. Converted on a 4th down catch. So Jack had some big plays for us last night, a couple tackles, pass breakup. So just guys contributing all over the place. Our kicker, Rafa Muniz, is, he kicked his 30th extra point last night. Really proud of him and what he's grown into this year. Just an opportunity for guys to compete and play. A couple first-year seniors and Declan Squires, who came out this year and played a great role for us on special teams. And there wasn't many. We only had 8 seniors. Our junior class was strong. Our sophomores have some athletes. We got a really good freshman class that we're excited about, and the future is bright. And there's going to be a lot of wins on Oliver Field next year with these guys we have coming back.
Talk about your off season too, because it's a little different than other people's. I mean, you do try to keep contact with them over the course of the off season, don't you?
Of course. I mean, we push them into other sports. Really want guys to compete, and I think that's something that's unfortunate this day and age, that people get caught up in this cultural idea that you got to specialize. It's just a shame.
Yeah.
It's truly a shame, Rusty. They're denying young people a chance to grow and be exposed to other challenges, to be exposed to other teammates, to be coached by other people who care about kids. So I'm just going to blatantly say any parent who challenges their kid to specialize is not doing their son or daughter justice. There is one more senior I need to speak about before I need to get off that soapbox, Rusty. I'll talk all day about that. But I think you can tell where my feelings are. Shit, my own boys play 3 sports. So I'm a believer in that. But regardless, Will Dupuis, one more senior that played for us this year, and he played his best game of the year. Had several solo tackles, assists, quarterback pressures, had a big catch at the end, set up our last touchdown. And he's come so far this year, and as a football player and as a young man, and like I said, that's what I appreciate about this team is the growth that we achieved throughout the season. As you know, we're so different other programs. We don't have the summer. We don't practice in the spring. So what we get on August 6th is the clay that we have to work with.
Yeah.
And early August, we just get after it and help these kids grow. And we want to be a better football team in the night than we were, and we certainly were last night. Lebanon is a dynamic football team. They are very talented. And for us to play the way we did against them and put them on the ropes late in the game is something that I'll appreciate this team for a long time. Despite the scoreboard, the way these kids battled and played for each other was made us really proud as coaches.
Man, you don't ever apologize about being on that soapbox, because I've been on it for a long time as well. But, I think with your guys this year, you saw growth too. I mean, even the couple of times I saw you, you were better as the year went on, I feel. And that's always a sign. That's always what you look for.
Yeah, you can't do this, but we play like we played last night. We win 8 games this year. There's no doubt in my mind. And sometimes it just takes a team to believe in themselves. It takes a team to realize what their potential and capabilities are. And as we started growing into ourselves and understanding our roles, and guys continue to improve, it really was fantastic to see the care and the teamwork that these guys put in for each other. We had a great week of practice. We flew around. It was light, and there wasn't any pressure, and they just went out and played, and it showed on Friday.
Sometimes that's what you need is just to, the why not us thing. Somebody's got to beat them. Why shouldn't we be the one?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time all year long. I really appreciate it. And, I know coaches have a lot on their plate other than what people see on Friday night, and even practice, a lot of off-field stuff you deal with, because you're dealing with whole human beings and not just little football posable dolls. And the fact that you make yourself so available to guys like me, I mean, it makes my job so much easier, and I really appreciate what you guys do.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm grateful for our parents that support our program. I'm grateful for our administration that give us an opportunity to work with young people, and that's what it's all about, is helping people become a better version of themselves. And we use the game of football to teach relationships and trust in one another, and just a great day to be an Eagle, Rusty. And again, in the big picture, these kids are going to remember how much these relationships in that locker room meant to them, and that's what we're going to take away.
Well, man, once again, thank you so much, and good luck to you as you go on here, and we'll catch up again soon. It'll seem like just around the corner.
Let's do it. Sounds great.
Andy Dorrell, head football coach at Culver Academy, and we're going to take a break. We'll come right back.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sanpan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
Back with Austin Faust, head coach of the Culver Community Football Team. Man, we had the chance to see you guys play last night, and it was a tough loss, but I think you guys showed up well.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I thought we played hard all night long. I thought we matched LaVille's physicality. For 4 quarters, but I thought for that first half, I thought, we played our butts off defensively. I thought we did some really nice things. I thought we, made them earn everything. That first touchdown pass was kind of blown coverage, but it was something new that we had kind of worked on, and they just exploited it. And then I think their second score I think was set up. I think there to me, on that pass interference call on fourth down that I thought was kind of one of those. I thought we had a similar situation where there was contact on ours, and they didn't call it, so I thought really not too much of a difference. And then we gave up a 14-play drive right there at the end of the half. And then kind of looking back on it, we did our kids, which is what, you want kids like this, but they just bought into, to everything we said and what we wanted to be. And really when we started playing our best ball defensively, we didn't make teams, or we had to make teams earn it. We didn't really give up big plays, and we didn't really give up big plays to LaVille last night. I thought we made life difficult for them, and made them work at it, and that's all we could ask for. Fortunately, offensively, in that first half, I don't think we had a single drive without a penalty, and we're just not good enough offensively to to come back from things like that.
I was going to say it's another one of those nights where you look at the score and people are going to think, LaVille must have had their way. I thought your defense was really, really good last night, especially like you say. In that first half, LaVille had short field almost every time they touched the ball. I think you held them out twice in that first half too.
Yeah. The first possession, right, where they roughed our punter and they called it, and then apparently it wasn't.
It was a weird night for that.
Yeah. Again, I'm still yelling about it, but I think that gave our defense some juice from then, because our defense played really inspired and played really hard, and kept them out inside the 20 there, and also too in the first half, Jordan Green got an interception too as well, and a nice return for us, and I thought we just played really well defensively, and we really kind of had been. For a while, and our kids kind of really bought into that 5-3 that we've been running, because it just puts our five best D linemen on the field, and and you gotta be able to win your matchup across from you. And I thought we did a good job there. I was a little worried that us putting 8 in the box, what they're going to do and kind of pick us apart, with the passing game, and but we just wanted to keep everything in front and rally, and our kids did that. So it was it was good to see. Obviously LaVille offensively, they put you in a lot of conflicts and things that, and some of the things we talked about, we're just going to have to make plays. We're going to have to do this. And, our D-line coach, Coach Kling, really gets the D lineman amped up, and, basically says the best pass coverage is a pass rush. Yeah. And, when you got Theron Carrington bearing down on you, that's true for sure. And, I don't know how many holding penalties he drew last night and how many more that didn't get called. He was, he was right there in the backfield all night long.
He brought up penalties too earlier in that. It seems like every game this year that I've called, no matter who's playing, just one penalty can kill a drive that looks like it's just definitely going to be points. It's just, I think it's an emotional thing that drains you as much as the actual, moving the football back.
Yeah, it is on certain things. And, some of the stuff last night was, LaVille's calling their defense in, and, they had a couple different things, and then, they're yelling their defense, and then they're yelling go. And I don't think it was, allowed to draw you off.
Right.
Like our cadence, go is in our cadence. So that got us a couple times, and things like that. And, so, that was some of those 5-yard penalties that kind of hurt us. And, we're, like you said, then you kind of, the emotional part, kids get a little frustrated, and, sometimes, then 5 yards can lead to this. But, I thought a couple times, okay, we have nice runs. All right. The problem is, we get those nice runs. Well, now it's 2nd and 10. Now it's 3rd and 10, instead of 3rd and 5, 2nd and 5 kind of thing. Yeah. But we came out opening half and, recovered the onside kick and, started to take a nice little drive, and we missed, kind of missed the block that put us back. But I don't know what it looked like for your eye in the sky, but it looked like us that on that rollout thought Jonas McEwen got the first down even before he went out of bounds, but they spotted him short, and we got stuffed on that fourth down with Theron. But I thought Theron was pretty close to the line to gain, but again, it was kind of a weird explanation that even though we ran to our sideline, our guy said he didn't have the view. The guy on their sideline had the better spot, apparently, which, again, I thought that was a little bit different. But I thought we were close on the line of gain, or at least had it, and that kind of obviously didn't turn the ball over on downs there. And then, then LaVille, went some no huddle on us and just, tried to pound ISO right at us in the second half, and had some success with that. And they did a really good job of, getting double teams at the point of attack, and then the running back would just kind of bounce it outside. And, that kind of hurt us there in the second half a little bit.
Well, I think if you go back and listen to the recording, you're going to find that we kind of wondered about that spot in particular too. And that's something else that I've noticed in every game that I've called this year. Depending on which, the officials on the sides don't ever spot it in the same spot, and I don't understand how they coordinate that. But I think you're right. It is just one of those weird nights.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed to be, obviously, our clock was having malfunction, so that was something that was just, you got to throw it in, and was just kind of different. But yeah, I mean, I guess I was always under the impression that it's, usually the guy that side you run the ball to, he should have the spot, because obviously he had the better eye. But there's a couple plays that the explanation I got was, I didn't see it. And when I told him, well, that's multiple times you didn't see it, he didn't like those answers.
Yeah. Well, but
it was a weird thing. And it's a weird thing that our state does, because I got a buddy that's on a crew that does a state championship game, or did a state championship game in 5A last year. But like the state championship crews aren't reffing the first 2 weeks. They're doing the sectional championship games, because then I guess that gives every crew in a state that applied a game.
Right.
So you would think too, if these are your best, you think you'd want your best out there too, not giving them 2 weeks off. But no, I mean, it's obviously a tough job and things. And, my frustrations last night, and, I kind of explained it to the officials. I mean, like, we knew we were going to have to play really, really well to upset LaVille.
Yeah.
And just, when you get some, big calls and things like that, and that was my, I'm the roughing the punter. That was my thing to the white hat, was like, you threw the flag confidently. Like, you threw it right away. I mean, that kind of thing. And obviously that gave LaVille the ball inside the 20. I mean, and thankfully, our defense rose up and got a stop. But no, I think, what the big difference too between our kids is, other years our kids get frustrated and just kind of allow things to spiral. And, I felt last night they rallied around that and just decided, all right, we're going to play harder. This is, we're going to use this, and we're going to, kind of use this momentum and things like that to play harder. And our kids did that. And, I thought, well, that was one of the things, sometimes you can see as a coach, if I'm getting on the officials too much, then maybe the kids are they're worrying about the officials too much. But I thought last night our kids kind of rallied behind that. So I guess I kind of felt more like a basketball coach working an official and things like that, because I thought our kids kind of, played a little bit inspired from it.
That's the thing. It's you walk a fine line on that, because, you're competitive, and referees, I think, understand that there's going to be some talk back and forth, just because that's the way it's always been. But, it's like I used to tell kids, he'd come back after a strikeout and say, well, that wasn't a strike. And I said, well, it is today. You better adjust to him, because he's not going to adjust to you. So,
no, you're exactly right. I mean, that's that's some of the things, we told our kids. I mean, there's, some of our D linemen are talking about, getting held. And it's like, well, you're going to have to play harder so they can see the hold. You know what I mean? Like, if you just play hard, they'll see the hold, right? Just go that much harder. And, we got some calls last night because, our kids were playing hard. I mean, Theron Carrington, he doesn't know anything but playing with max effort. And, he drew how many holding penalties on their pass plays because, he's coming hard off the edge. And so, it was one of those nights where, obviously not the way you want to go out on the season because this is a team that, you just want to keep playing with because it's a great group of kids. But, one of those though, like we told our guys, you could go out with your, heads held high because you didn't quit. You gave everything you got. You didn't stop. And, sometimes there's going to be nights like that, just like there is in life where, things don't go your way and stuff, but that doesn't mean you don't give your best and try everything possible to put yourself to be successful. So, we walked out of there. We're, incredibly proud of our kids.
Talk about your seniors too. I mean, that's sometimes the hardest thing to do is, they've meant a lot to the program as they've gone through. I know you're going to miss Carrington.
Yeah. This is one for me. It's not going to probably really hit me until next year, until in the off season, when they're not in the weight room and things, because, when I got to Culver, this was a freshman class, so they've just always been there, Theron Carrington and Isaiah Vela and the McEwens. I mean, they've just been there. This is a class that they don't miss anything. You could probably add up on maybe two hands of how many times in the 4 years they've missed stuff, whether it's, from the summer and things. They just always there. You can always count on them. And I think that's kind of the big thing. And, I could go on and on about this senior class, but I think one of the things that maybe kind of sums up the senior class and how they are is, when we say goodbye to the seniors and stuff, we line them up and we kind of go through the line. Everybody gets a chance to give them a hug and one last time before we walk off the field. And, we got freshman kids crying. And I think that kind of shows the impact the seniors had because, this year our freshman kids kind of basically went into every game knowing that I'm probably not going to get in on a Friday night unless it's a special teams because we play JV. So, sometimes there's that divide kind of thing where, you got two teams. So, I'm not really care about Friday night because I play on Mondays and Saturdays and those are younger guys. I play varsity and, this is a group that seniors that, we had our first JV game and all of them show up to Caston, to cheer on our JV. So just the bond that our kids had, that was the biggest thing. You have, Theron with what he did as a 3-year starter for us, 4-year player on the D line. Just the energy that he gave being an undersized defensive lineman, but made up with it with his size and speed. And Isaiah Vela, 4-year player that there's probably hadn't been a kid that maybe he's transformed his body in a year that I've seen. And Isaiah, he lived in the weight room, got really, really strong, and it showed all year long. Teams really couldn't push him around. And a guy we ran behind on the offensive line. And then, Caleb McEwen with what he kind of turned into for us. I mean, he was our go-to guy. Last year he really, came out of it, came out kind of with the welcoming party where his brother was throwing him the ball quite a bit and was our kind of second receiver behind David Height last year. But did some really good things offensively and defensively for us as a junior. Really kind of towards the end of the year, he kind of became our guy that we look towards. And then, this year he was the guy. Last night we get in certain formations and LaVille's got 3 guys shaded his way, making sure, he can't get kind of free.
Right.
And so he was, enemy number 1 on the scouting report for everybody. And defensively, he did some really nice things for us at our outside linebacker position and became a really sure tackler for us. Something that he really improved at and worked at. And then obviously his brother Jonas at quarterback, 3-year starter. He just kept progressing, just getting better and better. What you want your quarterback to do for you. And then adding the game, this year, adding his legs to the part. And defensively played both ways this year, which, sometimes you're a little worried about your quarterback playing both ways. But, It's almost senior year. We got to have you. And did a really nice job corner for us in the run game, passing game. And then Skylar Greer is a 3-year player for us. Really kind of raw, hadn't played since younger youth league stuff, but just did everything we asked of him, did it the right way, and really improved and became a solid piece for us on both sides of the ball, the offense, defensive line. And then Scotty Banks came out this year, played outside backer, tied in for us, and just improved so much in the year. Became one of our better tacklers in a short amount of time, became a really good blocker out in space for us. And, I know he wishes he would have played earlier. I wish we could have coached him for all 4 years, because I think Scotty was a kid that, his potential in football, would have been, pretty cool to see as a football coach. But just a great group that did everything the right way, and that's what we told our guys. The way they did everything with their attendance in the weight room, in the locker room, and on the field, that's how it's supposed to be done. And it's up to our underclassmen to follow in their footsteps.
Well, man, I also want to thank you for taking the time. You guys are always really welcoming to us, and it makes my job a lot easier when you guys are open. I hope that I don't bug you too much over the course of the year.
No, not at all, Rusty. Like I said, we appreciate everything that you guys do for us over there. Between you guys there in Plymouth and then in Knox, I think we had maybe 5 or 6 of our games covered this year. So, we appreciate everything you guys do for us over here. Everything that you guys do to promote our athletes here at Culver, and everything you're going to do going forward into basketball season and wrestling as we get started here next week.
Well, man, good luck to you as you move down the road here, and we'll be talking again. It'll seem like just yesterday we were having this talk, but we'll do it again next year.
All right, sounds good. Thank you again for everything, Rusty.
Austin Faust, the head coach at Culver Community, and stay there. We'll be right back.
When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank, we don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927.
And we are back. Adam Hanley joins us, the head coach of the Plymouth Rockies. And looks like it was kind of the game you expected last night, but 44 points, that's a good showing on your offense.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a few weeks, obviously. And we knew we were capable of scoring that, regardless of the opponent, obviously. And it was nice to finally, see that number on our side. Especially going into this week, we knew we were, not that they were bad, but we just knew we were the better team, and we had to make sure we executed. Though we hadn't played our level that we needed to play to the last couple of weeks, and it was nice to see that.
We talked last Saturday. You mentioned that, the game they played the week before, I think it was New Prairie. It might have been 80 points scored in a game. You kind of hinted that you thought it was going to be a high-scoring game. I mean, they put some points on the board too, but it sounds like they got that kind of an offense.
Yeah, it was 44-7. We got to the running clock with about 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and we wholesale changed everybody. We put our entire JV defense and our entire JV offense in, just to make sure we're healthy. It wasn't we said at this point, guys, there's no shutout, there's no pride. If they score 2 or 3 more times, so be it, right? Yeah. I mean, the final score looks like it, whatever it is, who cares, and we just wanted to make sure we got out of there pretty much healthy. And they scored 2 touchdowns against, our JV group, and they kept their starters in the entire game. That was the outcome of the final score was that. I think if we keep our starters in, it's probably 44-7. We may even score again offensively. I don't know. But but overall, yeah, their one score against our varsity was just a long ball, jump ball that we had two guys in position for. It was a 3rd and 15. We just didn't get the ball on the ground or intercepted. It was a really nice play by their wideout, and then he went for, I think it was like a 60 or 70-yard run or touchdown pass. So that was the most of the scoring right there.
Talk about your offense. I mean, what was it last night that started clicking? I mean, obviously you did some things right.
Yeah, we don't have the stats completed yet, done this morning. I think with the whole iCloud outage and that huddle was all jacked up. I heard there were some issues with film and things like that with our exchange, and so we haven't got any of that back. I mean, I would assume we were well over 200 yards rushing. We had 2 passes that were long balls that we had kind of set up, run for a while, and then threw a couple of passes deep. So I would say Finn was well over 100. He's over 1,000 for the season now, and Ben Halley had another 50 to 75 on his own as well. So Fernando had a nice jet sweep for a touchdown. So yeah, it was just our run game, right? We knew we were going to have to be able to run the ball, especially in this part of the season, right, where it starts to get cold and catching the ball isn't as fun anymore when your hands hurt and all that kind of stuff. So we just knew we had to run the ball, and when we've ran the ball well, obviously. And if you look back at a couple games, on that little 3-game streak we had, we ran the heck out of the ball, and that was what we did last night.
Did you think it was going to be that way when the year started? I mean, it seems like this team has really developed a little bit different identity than I thought they would.
Yeah, I would say this summer we knew we got, our center situation has changed since the summer, but left guard, left tackle, right tackle have all been the same, and all 3 or 2 of those 3 are all 300-pounders. So we knew we were going to be able to run the ball. I just didn't know we didn't know as a staff too that Ben was going to be able to run the ball as well as he has. I mean, he's a really good athlete. He's a baseball player, really shifty kid. So we knew that wasn't going to be an issue. But yeah, I would say before the season started, I wouldn't have told you he was going to be as well of a runner as he is.
You got some, like you said, some big kids on that O-line. I mean, it just kind of lends itself to running the football. I mean, those guys are big.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Carson's 6'6", 300+ pounds. Sosa's over 300. You throw John in the mix, he's probably 2+. And then with Jakey or Carlos at right guard, they're another 300 pounds as well. So I mean, yeah, we got a lot of mass up front, and when they work together instead of working against each other, we had some double teams and stuff like that. That in previous weeks they're working against each other instead of together. And if they get their steps down, there's not too many guys that they can't move, especially on some of our double team and our schemes that we do. They should have no problems and no issues moving some people.
That's the thing too that I don't think people really comprehend is that basketball coaches talk about defensively. You're one fist, maybe 5 fingers, but you're one fist.
Yeah,
it's really the same exact thing for an offensive line, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you can have one guy that's an absolute monster, but it doesn't matter if the other 4 aren't doing their job, right? I mean, especially defensively, you're going to scheme to find the weak spot of the offensive line to try to take advantage of it and do things like that. So, yeah, when all 5 guys are stepping the right direction and, all on the same page, it's really fun to watch and again, really difficult to stop.
And it makes each other better, too, because you got to trust the guy that you're not going to have to clean up his mess if you do what you're supposed to do, and that becomes a mental thing.
Absolutely. I mean, the game of football, we talk about it all the time, you and I, and, most of the coaches are on the same page, I would say, too. The football is obviously the greatest game that ever invented, and it is the only game that I firmly believe a single individual can't take over the game, right? I mean, it is truly a team sport. Especially when you're talking about, the offensive linemen, defensive linemen, just in general, that you can have, like I said, you can have one guy that's really good, but you give the best running back in the state a bunch of 5'0" 150-pound linemen. Like he's only going to be as good as he can do, on his own. So it's just, it's really cool to see this offensive line kind of take that ownership. And I think, obviously that's a testament to, the offensive staff and what they're trying to do. And again, there's no question, there's no surprise that we're going to try and run the ball. And I feel like the offensive line has kind of taken that ownership as well and said, yeah, you know what, we are going to run the ball. So it's really fun to watch.
Finn getting healthy yet, or is he still kind of banged up?
Yeah, I mean, like I talked to with you last week, I'm not sure there's a single guy on this roster that's considered healthy right now. I think we're all kind of banged up, but no, he ran really well last night. I think I think he's continuing to get some rehab and things like that. But for the most part, I think he was pretty healthy.
Talk about your defense last night. I mean, obviously you saw a lot of things you liked.
Oh yeah, defense was flying around, and that's, we made a change a couple weeks ago to move some guys from linebacker down to D-line, and we hadn't really seen it tested. I mean, the Mishawaka week obviously was a 7-0 game at halftime, and there was I think that the changes we made showed in that game. Even last week against Concord, I felt like they did a really good job. A score obviously wasn't as good as we wanted it to be, but they did some of the right things. We just didn't get help from other places. So I think we've got the right guys in the right spot defensively. We've got, I would say our team defense is pretty fast. They got a lot of guys that are out there flying around and, again, giving up 7 points against a really explosive offense, that the week prior scored 30 plus, is really good to see.
What are the things you saw that you didn't like? I mean, there's got to be some things you're going to have a film session here later this morning. What are the things you're going to break down?
Yeah, we still had some penalties in bad situations. I think we had a holding penalty. We had a 50-yard run or something like that. We had a holding penalty that brought it back and got us, to 1st and 20. You never want those. I don't think we had any false start penalties, at least last night. That was something that's kind of been killing us and shooting us in the foot. It was 1st and 15 or, 2nd and 12 because of a false start. I think we got most of those, shirt up and things like that, but just some penalties still. Obviously you want them to be aggressive. You want them to be, make the ref or put the ref in a situation to, be on the fringe of doing a really good job blocking, but not holding. And, each ref's going to see it differently. And you want the aggressive stuff like that, right? But you just got to make sure that we're not, we're not doing it at the right time, right? We're driving the ball. We've had 2 or 3 first downs, 4 first downs, whatever it is, and then we have a, personal foul or we have a holding or something like that, and then we just the drive absolutely stalls out. So we just got to make sure we do that better on offense, and then defensively, I think in the last 2 weeks we've given up some long balls, and that's not good. Obviously, Mishawaka, who we play this week, they're not going to throw the ball very often. I mean, it's just not what they've done. And if they are throwing the ball, obviously that means our defense is doing something really well. But we just got to make sure we when the ball is in the air, especially 30, 40 yards downfield, we can't, it's got to be on the ground or it's got to be our ball. We can't be giving up the long balls like that anymore. That's just a momentum killer. It's just the defensive staff and players, just when you have those kind of things, it kind of takes the wind out of your sail a little bit, and you never want to have that in the middle of a game.
I was going to say, the times I've seen you play, it wasn't, the big penalties. It was those offsides at the wrong moment or, illegal motion. Or I think there was one that was somebody wasn't set up right. I mean, just really little tiny things that have killed some promising drives.
Yeah, and we don't have as we talked about this before, we don't have any guys that are running, 4.7 40s and things like that. We've got some really quick feet guys and some agile guys that, make people miss in space and stuff like that. But our offensive philosophy right now is if we're gaining, 4 or 5 yards a run, like we're in business, obviously. And we'll be happy with that, right? If we're having safeties and corners making tackles and we're getting the front 7, front 8 blocked up front, then we're very happy with what we're getting.
Well, man, talk about it a little bit. You got to play on the road now with Mishawaka. That's a bad trip. Number one. Number two, Second time. You just hate having to
Yeah.
play a team second time.
Yeah, I mean, we knew if we won, we were going to have to see somebody again, right? I mean, with the way the bracket fell, we were going to see either Northwood and Mishawaka. And from what we've seen, kind of in the film so far, and what we saw kind of through social media and stuff like that, was Northwood had plenty of chances to take care of that game last night, and they had some bad turnovers and bad times, and it was 21-0 at half. And final score was 28-14, but it was 21-14. Northwood had the ball with the opportunity to go down and score to tie the game. And I think they ran the ball really well on Mishawaka from what we saw in some of the clips and things like that. And, obviously what we're doing well is running the ball. So we really like that. Again, I think it's going to come down to, what are they going to do offensively, right? We did a really good job on defense against them last week, 2 weeks ago when we played them. It was 7-0 at halftime, right? I think we were very, very pleased with where we were at halftime. We didn't have Finn last time we played him, and I think that Josh did a really good job for us, but Finn and Josh are different people. And then because Josh had to move from H to tailback, that got us not in a great situation at H. And so just some dominoes that fell that way. So obviously, it'd be good to have him healthy and back as well. And, it's really tough to beat someone twice in a season, regardless of who you are and how you're playing. And they're playing at a high level, and Kinder's got them playing really well, and they fly around, they're tough. They really are tough kids.
Yeah.
And, but I think mentality wise with high school kids and things like that, it's tough to beat someone twice, but it's also on our end, you already lost to this team, earlier in the season. So how do our kids respond? How do our kids, come in today and come in Monday with the mindset of, we can compete with this team. They beat us 28-0 a couple weeks ago, but what is your mindset coming into, to this week of preparation? And, how are you feeling about the game? We as coaches obviously believe that we can beat them. We as coaches have a game plan that, kept us in the game last time. But again, it comes down to these 14, 15, 16-year-old boys that they've got to have the will and the desire and the want to go out and compete. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter what we do as coaches.
I was going to say, they're going to make adjustments too, and it becomes that chess
Oh,
match.
sure.
We're going to have to adjust to what they do, and that's what kind of makes it fun to me is that chess match that goes on.
Yeah, because it wasn't like we saw these guys in week 3 or week 4, right?
Right.
I mean, this was only week 8. This was 2 weeks ago, and we after we shook hands with them, at midfield, I said, hey, maybe we'll see each other again or something like that. Just one of those subtle comments about, we knew they were intersectional, we knew they were a good team, and here we are. Now we're getting a chance to play them again.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time, and good luck to you. We'll catch up some point during the week this week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rusty.
That is Adam Hanley, the head football coach at Plymouth High School. Stay there. We'll be right back.
Looking for a stable career in an industry that doesn't slow down? Hoosier Racing Tire in Plymouth, Indiana is seeking motivated people who believe in quality and want to work in a safe environment. With thorough training provided for all positions, no experience needed. Second, third, and weekend shift production wages start around $20 an hour with potential at $25 an hour within a year. Quarterly bonuses, paid time off, and health insurance benefits that start on day one. Apply online at HoosierTire.com. That's HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Tire is an equal opportunity employer.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
Tune to the Saturday Morning Coaches Show here on Max 98.3. And let's take a quick look at the scores from last night. We had Triton over Southern Wells by a final of 60-28. It was 11-39. CMA 19. LaVille shut out Colbert 35-0. Calumet 42 and Glenn 23. Plymouth will move on. They beat South Bend, Washington 44-23. And Bremen will move on as well. 34-0 winner over Whiting. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We'll talk with last week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. It's Sawyer Crace from Argus. So stay there.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
McDonald's restaurants in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana are now owned and operated by local residents Bill and Flo Bolt. Bolt Enterprises are proud to own and operate all 4 McDonald's restaurants in Marshall County. Become part of the McDonald's family today with Bolt Enterprises McDonald's.
And we're with our Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week Award winner, Sawyer Crace from Argus High School, senior goalkeeper for their soccer team. Man, congratulations! You had a great week last week.
Thank you.
3 shutouts in the sectional, man. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just hard work, and the other team, I don't know.
How did that feel?
It felt good. A good experience. I got a lot of help from our teammates. We got
Talk about that a little bit too, because I know that there's the whole defense. I mean, you got other guys. Talk about your other guys a little bit.
Yeah, Corbin Rex, he was a good part of the team, good part of the defense, and Kyle Penn, he stepped up and played center back, and I don't know, that we were just really good on defense. And
well, I think that was an all-year thing, too. If I remember right, you had, 10 shutouts on the year as a team?
Yeah, I think so. We had 10.
How does that feel? Because I looked at the number of goals scored against you guys. I think it was only 18 all year long. I mean, that's how does that feel?
It feels good. It was also our other keeper. He helped. And, yeah, it was good.
When did you start playing soccer?
Freshman year.
You'd never played before then?
I played a rec season in 8th grade.
And that was it?
Yeah.
You had a pretty good run then, man. You're playing having only that much experience. I mean, do you like the game? I mean, it's something you want to keep doing?
Yeah, I enjoy the game. Yeah, I would want to keep doing it if I get a chance to. But
what about it do you like the most?
I just like being together as one. I think it's fun. I like making good saves. It gets my adrenaline rushing. It's just fun.
Talk about your position is what I want you to talk about. I mean, what are the things you have to be good at? What are the things you drill every day?
You got to be good at mental toughness. You got to keep yourself up. Can't let people bring you down. You got to work hard. You got to want it. And yeah, that's all you really need.
I know that a lot of the good goalkeepers I've known over the years, and I don't know much about soccer. I never played, but they also are kind of like the eyes for the guys. You're kind of like the catcher in baseball. You see everything, and you have to help your other guys out.
Yeah, we got to communicate good. We got to let them know who's coming. Just be eyes on the field for our teammates.
Let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, you have a favorite subject in school? It's okay, you don't, man. Is there anything that you do better than any other in school?
Yeah.
No,
School ain't the thing. Huh?
no, it's not.
I got 2 kids the same way. Talk about your future. I mean, what do you see yourself doing as you go down?
I just see myself going to the workforce and working, doing welding.
You want to be a welder?
Yeah.
You could do worse in life than being a welder, believe me. I got 2 guys that are my kids in the trades, too. I mean, is that something that you just kind of planned on when you get out?
Yeah.
Have you got any idea where you're going to work?
There's a place called Rochester Metals, I think. Thinking about that, or PWI.
Have you done any tech training or anything like that while you've been here in high school?
No.
Okay. Let's talk about your family a little bit. Your mom and dad's names. You got any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, my mom's name, her name's Christina Crace, and my dad's name, his name's Paul Crace. And I got 4 siblings. My oldest is Kyra Crace. My middle siblings, Cheyenne Crace. She goes to the school. And then I got a younger brother, Larry Crace, and he's here. And then I have a younger sister named Alyssa.
The younger ones, I suppose, look up to Big Brother, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I'm a good role model.
You got any other soccer players coming up in your family?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah. Well, man, it was great to meet you, and good luck to you in the future, and congratulations.
All right, thank you.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
Your morning, it deserves more than just coffee. It deserves Bigby coffee. From velvety lattes to our famous sweet foam cold brews, every sip is brewed with love, laughter, and a splash of fun. All first responders and veterans receive a free brewed coffee and 20% off their entire order. Students and teachers receive 10% off with a valid school ID. Have the best day ever by stopping in to your family favorite local coffee shop where every cup comes with a smile and every day starts brighter. Stop in today and let's make it a big day. Bigby Coffee, have the best day ever, located on Columbus Drive in Plymouth.
And we're back. Jeff Kaiser, head football coach at LaVille, joins us here. And, man, that's a good win for you guys last night. You get to move on.
Yeah, the key thing is we're moving on, and there's only 32 teams left in 1A, and LaVille's one of them, and we're happy with the position we're in to be able to, work another week and see what we can do on a Friday night. But, Austin Faust and his staff had that Culver team ready to go, and, man, those kids play hard. They impressed me with their heart and the desire, and, we made some adjustments and things went our way.
It's funny you mentioned that. When I talked to Austin earlier, it was kind of a really weird night. Flags picked up, flags thrown, spotting the ball, penalties that were or weren't. I mean, it was just the clock was having trouble. It was one of those nights that could really get in your head, and it didn't really seem to bother your guys that much.
Yeah, there was a lot of, game time, game situation issues that happened. And, some of those I would say many of those we produced ourselves. We had a ton of penalties and put ourselves behind the sticks many times. And I think midway through the first, I called a timeout, just try regrouping our guys a little bit because, we weren't executing and Culver was, and we had some penalties and we were just seemed like we were playing behind the 8 ball for a while to get things going. And, hats off to Culver. They were taking things away from us.
I thought they did a nice job with you in the first half defensively. I mean, and like you said, a lot of it was just sheer effort.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, those kids, they were playing hard, and their D-line was giving us fits. We challenged our guys at halftime with some adjustments we were making, and I like the way we responded. It's just, you can't do that at this point in the season. Those 24 minutes that you didn't do it in, you're not getting back, and is 24 minutes enough? To play the second half. So we challenged our guys, and I think second half our kids responded, which they usually do, Rusty. My group of kids, they respond, and I knew they would. We've been down this road before, and they know what's expected and the standard, and they weren't playing up to it. And they agreed at halftime. They 100% agreed, but we shored that up, and we got the job done.
You found some success running the football there in that second half too, and that's got to feel good.
Yeah, we have multiple guys contributing to that too, which is even better. We're not relying on one guy, and the old line's opening some holes up. That second half, and our backs were hitting them, and there's times where Culver would blow up the run, and the next play we're able to get. So that's positive that we're not allowing a negative play per se to affect our next play, right? You kind of got to move on each play, good or bad, and I felt for the most part we were doing that more so in the second half for sure.
Stafford is a lot different back than the first time I saw him. He's really has learned to stick his foot in the ground and run hard north and south.
Yeah, he's built confidence through the year, and that's natural. He get comfortable with what we're doing and how we're doing it. He's involved in the passing game a lot this year, and so there's a little more to that than just line up behind the quarterback and I'm gonna get the ball. So there's a mixture of process of what he's got to think about and do, and we challenged him a little bit. First quarter we felt he wasn't running as hard as he potentially can, and then we've seen some nice spurts where he did run hard, and we just need the consistency from him and consistency from the whole team. We got to be consistent on executing our plays to have success again this next Friday.
How long have you been using Wood as a backup a little bit in that running back role all along? We didn't see him last time.
Yeah, so he started for us week 2 against North Judson. Cole had an injury, Stafford had an injury, and then we spotted him. He was a JV running back, so he was getting at least a quarter in on Fridays. And then, of course, if Cole would go down or need a breather or whatever, Lawrence went in. So he's been in the mix, and he's no stranger to getting out there on a Friday. And the kid runs so hard. He's a workhorse in the weight room, and he takes a lot of pride in that. He's a really good wrestler. So kind of having the spotlight on him, he doesn't shy away from that, and he keeps the same mentality. Whether he's having success or he's been blown up on a play, he still gets up and, yep, I'm going to go better. I'm going to go just as hard next time no matter what. And he gives us a solid effort and compliments Cole quite a bit back there.
I was going to say, he looks a little bit undersized, but he's a nice little back.
Yeah, there's times, I'm sure there's times where the defense has a hard time seeing him, and that's always a plus. And then when you do get a hold of him, he's not just going to go down. He's going to keep churning and earn that extra yard. He's definitely a yak back, and so it's fun to watch because you'll see 5 or 6 guys around him, and next thing you see it still moving 2 or 3 yards, and then he'll go down. So that's always a blessing to see with when you have a running back that wants to run that hard. And being a sophomore, definitely you see some really good things out of him that he potentially could develop into.
Braden had a really good game, I thought, in the sense that all that weirdness was going on and the disruption, and he just seemed to be that steady influence that just kept everything moving the right direction, kept everything together. I thought he did a real good job leadership-wise last night.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he had a touchdown called back. It was a beautiful catch by Dylan Miller due to holding penalty.
Right.
Before he did Braden, I'll tell you, Rusty, the thing that irks me, there's 2 penalties that irk me. That's a holding penalty because you're just being lazy, and then a formation penalty because you work formations every day.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 penalties that I just don't settle well, and we're going to discuss that, and and that. But so unfortunately, probably I think it was at least a 40, 50-yard pass to Dylan that, was taken off the board, unfortunately. But if you compared what was going on last night to, let's say, week 2, back when we played North Judson, or week 3, you can see the maturity and that adversity of Braden through the games, right? So you see that growth. There wasn't a panic in him. He kept his composure. I mean, his overall stats for passing the ball, somebody would look at it and probably frown on it. But if they seen how the way the game went and kind of how things were going, and Culver was taking a few things away from us deep, and they did a nice job in some coverages. But Braden's composure and like you said, he continually wants to excel, and he's a true team player. We've taken him out on the defense and let him concentrate a little more on the offensive side of the ball. I know he's not, super happy about that, but we explained to him, and that's a senior. That's a senior that's put the work in, and he's he last year he's a two-way player as a junior. So, he wants a kid like that thinks that he's not impacting the team if he's not on the field. That's not right. You know what I mean? Like we're able to get him off on the side, good or bad, let him catch his breath, right? Regroup a little bit, and watch some video, watch some, sideline, talk to the OC, Coach Roseland, a little bit before he has to go run another series. And so the process and Braden being mature, we see that he wants to be out. He was trying to get on the field last night on defense, And initially I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, nope, no. You're not. Like, I got another guy I'm gonna put in there, and you could see him just kind of drop his head, and that's just the competitiveness in him. But, if we were telling Braden that as an underclassman, the buy-in I don't think would be as strong. His maturity and understanding where we're at and what we want to do is why he'll excel at what we're doing right now with him.
Foster is just he's in a different realm. And then in the second half last night, I thought Philly was really giving you a shot in the arm. I think both those guys had a great night for you, especially on the defensive side. Yeah, I mean, there's two seniors. Philly's really developed this year and has been a big part of what we do on both sides of the ball. Last year he was just a spot-in guy. He played all special teams, and he would spot in at times, and he knew that there was going to be an opportunity for him, and he's taken off with it. And each game we see a confidence in him, and the confidence in his teammates around him is growing, and that's a blessing that that's happened for him because he's put work in. He's put a lot of work in over his career, and he's seeing it. And we played in a couple different positions last night, and I mean he would, like you said, you noticed him, and when you can notice somebody like that. And I hope you're just noticing more so on the defensive side than the offensive side. But all kidding aside, because he's an offensive lineman, right? So, he played very well. He's aggressive. He's physical. He wants success. He's hungry. And, we've talked about Braden Foster almost every week. And Braden's a hard-nosed player he's going to figure it out. If you're getting to him, he's going to figure it out. And, he's one of our solid leaders that really helps direct that offensive line, and then he's the senior leader on the defense. Being right in the middle, and he's seeing things. He communicates very well to me when he can, and he understands my thought process. I think better than anybody I've had on the defense, and in situations and formations, right? What we're trying to do and getting guys in the right position, and we shifted on something last night, and the Culver had a little success on it, and him and I both looked at each other and we're like, we're not doing that anymore, And I think he wanted to say that, and he has. I mean, he's told me before. I mean, we were at the game against Jimtown, and I said, let's run this, and he says, no, coach, I don't like that. And I'll give the kid that credit. He's put the time in. He studies film. He's in the middle. He's on the field. And, exactly.
If you tell a kid no, that's not going to work when it's something real, right, in a real situation, the kid's leadership will dwindle, and that's not what you want. You want him to keep ballooning with that confidence of, I know what coach wants out of this. I know what we can do out of this. Let's do it, and we see that out of both of our Bradens, Foster on defensive side and on the offensive line side, but Schwitz will come off and say, "Coach, let's run this" to our OC, and man, he's about spot on with it. I mean, I think a couple touchdowns he's had this year, he's called it. He's came over and said, "Hey, let's run this." And so that's what you want out of your senior leaders. You know, and when you're doing that, they understand the system that we're playing, and that's utmost important. And then the younger guys see that. You know, they see that, man, if I put the time in, I'm listening to what coaches are saying and teaching us, I could be that guy helping us win games on Friday nights as far as the scheme side of it. And so that's something we've always believed in, is communication with the players.
You know, you make a great point, too. It's exactly what I heard a coach talk about one time. You know, those guys are on the field, and you can call something, and it's the perfect thing to call on paper. It's what should be called. But if he doesn't have confidence in it, is he going to execute it? You got to let them have some feel in that and do things they're confident with, because that's when they're going to succeed.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, if every coach that coaches any sport, if it all worked that you put on paper, every coach is state champ. Every coach is undefeated, and that's you know, that would be just too easy. And so, you know, you try getting your guys to understand what you're doing, and you're trying to put them in a position to be successful. And sometimes what you've seen on video is not exactly what is sitting right in front of them on the field.
Right.
And so, you know, it's a push pull both ways. You know, and I you know, tell the guys, talk to us, let us know if that's not working, and what can we do to make it work. Right. If they're able to explain what can make it work, and it's in our vocabulary of what we do, they're understanding where we're going with things. You know, if they can't explain it, then it's not quite probably what we should do.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm very blessed that our guys understand that and buy into that, is on both sides of the ball and on special teams.
Yeah, I got to say again, I don't think I'd want to get that handoff and see Foster standing in front of me either. That.
Yeah, he's a banger.
He goes after it. Now, in the second half, you had a lot more success offensively, and you know, it seemed like a lot of that came from the run. How do you feel about all of that mixing together? Because you got a big contest again Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we challenged the guys at halftime with the run. I mean, we flat out told them we're gonna see how good we are up front, because Culver's taking it away from us, and you know, it was no secret we're gonna run the ball second half, and so, you know, those guys rose up to the occasion. The running backs ran hard. Schwitz had some carries, some really nice carries as well. You know, so we mixed it up running the ball, and you know, I liked how we responded to that. And that's a compliment to what we do, because if we can get that running game going, it will open up those opportunities to air it out. Until you get both going, they're gonna shut you down. You know, they're gonna shut down that rush, and now they can step back on, you know, on your passing game. And that's what we were doing kind of early on when you know, we had talked about the struggles of the rushing game, and you know, we made it loud and clear to our players, like, we have got to be able to run the ball. We're going to run into weather here, you know, and the air it out may not be as much as we have to be. And so we can't just say, oh, now we got to flip the switch and I hope we can run the ball. You know, we need to be able to say we can run the ball. And so, and not only say it, but our guys confident enough that they can do it. And the way they responded last night, I mean, they know we can run the ball. They know we have, you know, solid running backs, and you know, we're going to make the right play calls to excel and get in the end zone.
Let's talk about the week coming up. Now, am I right? You'll be going over to North Judson. Is that where you're going to play that, or you get the home game?
Yeah, we're traveling over to North Judson, yes.
Talk about that a little bit, because it's a rematch, and it seems like this happens. It's starting to happen almost every year. You guys, you know, having to, one way or the other, the sectional title is going to go through them or you. And you got a rematch of last year, and we were there for that one, and I thought you guys played really well with them. You played really well with them early. What do you see how have they changed, I guess, since the beginning of the year?
Yeah. You know, you talk about, you know, LaVille, North Judson playing and you know, in the sectional and the postseason play, and even our, you know, back to HNAC days, right. You know, we were lining up there last few years of it for conference championship. So big games has always been the case when we line up against Coach Lambert's team. And, I think, after week 2, Coach Lambert and I shook hands and we both said we'll see in sectional. I mean, this is something that, I know for a fact his program expects, and this is what our program expects. Our standards are you want to play the best. And in order to do it, you're going to either draw them or you're going to bracket to them.
Yeah.
And that's the luxury of tournament time. And, our guys are excited for the opportunity. Back in week 2, both teams are tremendously different as far as, shifting some guys around and what they're offering. And obviously, both teams are playing faster, more aggressive as you've been seasoned. It's no secret. I mean, Judson's going to do what they're going to do. But, the dive, the option, the toss, and then they're going to stretch you out. And once you pack the box, and they're going to find it, and they're well coached, and he's going to scheme it up and roll up the sleeves and come at us, and we're going to scheme it up and go at them. And defensively, he's mixing it up a little bit. He's running 3 front and 4 front, which complement each other. So we got to be ready for that. The thing is they're going to bring their best, and we're going to bring our best. And it's who's going to play for 48 minutes is the one that's going to move on. And playing for 48 minutes is playing, mistake-free, penalty-free, not turning the ball over and winning the field position battle. I mean, I truly think that's what this game's going to come down to. It's a tough place to play at. Great environment. I expect it's going to be a pretty packed house, which is what both programs deserve, as our kids have worked tremendously hard.
Yeah.
And, this is the stage. The stage is set for, to see if you move on and play another 48 minutes for some hardware. And, I like what we have. I know we're going to work hard this week. I know our guys understand what's in front of them. And like I said, it's no secret that, our kids are ready for them, and I'm sure they're ready for us. It's just another big ball game on a Friday night, and to see if you earn the rights to get another 48 minutes.
Yeah, you're right about playing over there, man. That is a unique atmosphere. Times I've been there, it's they love their football.
Yeah, they take a lot of pride in it. As to why they've made such great postseason runs since Coach Lambert's been there, and you pull in over there, and you get off the bus, you go on the hallway, you see all the pictures of all their past championships of their sports, and it's really neat, and you sit back and kind of look at some of those guys, and and it's like, man, these guys put some work in, and the tradition that's here, we're right there with them because we play a lot of big games against each other. There's something to be said about that for each program, and the kids that we can develop, and how our kids buy into our programs and know what the expectations are is really kind of, I think Coach Lambert and I could sit and talk about it for a while, and it's just they're the program that in the north of 1A right now. Until you beat them, they're the team to beat, because they represented Downtown Lucas last year and did a tremendous job. So, we got them, and we got our door on the handle, our handle on our hand on the knob of the door, and after this week of practice, we'll open that door up and go get them.
Well, man, good luck to you. Get that win, and we'll catch up this week and talk a little bit.
All right, Rusty, sounds great. Thank you.
That is Jeff Kaiser, head coach at LaVille. And stay there. We'll be right back.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana. Serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
And we're back. Justin Begonia, the head football coach at Bremen, joins us in this segment. Man, that's a good win for you. I mean, it's good when you see a game that, on paper you feel like you probably should win it when you actually do win it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things with that as well, right? Like coming off the last two tough games that we've played at the end of the season, and then going on the road and making that trip a 2-hour bus ride is obviously nobody's first round pick, but and the kids, we did start off sluggish, and I give them credit too. Like they did a good job getting their kids ready to play and rebound into that game as well, because they're fired up to play.
You hit that on the head, because it's not just winning a game you should win, but win it the way you should win it becomes the goal, because you don't want to be sluggish and you don't want to just get by. You want to show that you want to show well.
Yeah. And we had a slow start. Not going to lie, the first half was a little sluggish and a little slow, and then our kids turned it on and responded at halftime and made the plays they should have made in the second half, and kind of put the game away. So proud of that. Proud that we took care of business on the road and got our first sectional win, definitely. And obviously those are the things that you look for. You want to try to build some momentum going into the playoffs, or at least as you go through the playoffs, I should say. And we got our hands full this week.
Yeah, you do. But, let's talk about your defense first. They threw a shutout again. I mean, they have just been – it just seems like to me that every week we're talking about how they give you a chance to win every game you play, and that's got to feel good as you go down the tournament run.
Yeah, we did some good things on defense. I don't have the exact stats for you. You probably have seen them, but got turnovers. We had multiple pressures and sacks on the quarterback. And then every time they did start to get a first down, they went to the running game a little bit. And then, after let's say they got a first down or they got a little momentum, then our defense stiffened up and shut down the running game, and then made them more one-dimensional in the passing game. And then, and then those guys kind of flew to the football.
On offense, obviously you had some things clicking. What did you see that you liked out of your offense?
Some guys, I thought that Parrish ran the ball well last night. Hit the hole hard. Got extra yards after contact. The line, I thought a couple of those times were opening up nice holes. There were a few times when those running backs were going through, at least on level one, untouched until they got to the linebackers in the secondary. That's promising and nice to see. And just sustaining those drives. I thought, again, the combination of the run blocking with the running behind it was an improvement, and good to see as a coach. I thought as well, Pippinger had a nice game as well. So those guys did a good job running the ball.
What did you
and
see?
And then I got to say too, no, I was just gonna say, I got to say too, right? Miller, it gets overseen he just is quiet and does his job, right? And is a big part of opening the holes. Had a few hard runs there as well to contribute, and he's kind of an unsung hero on that offense.
He is too. He's the one, if I remember right, got some opportunities at CMA and shows you he can run the ball.
Yes, you're right. That was a big game for him, and to help us win that game. He was kind of the counter to, what we do, and so he had a few of those. Had a catch or two last night out of the backfield as well. So just does all the little things right. Kind of a coach's dream, really. Doesn't say much. works hard. You know, he's kind of that lunch pail type kid that you hear about, the cliche, and loves the game, right? He loves the physicality and the scrappiness and the hard work of the football game, and you got to love those type of kids as a head football coach.
I was going to say, I don't think people understand how much joy it gives your head coach when he can reward a guy like that and see him respond with a touchdown run or a catch or whatever he's got going on. I mean, I think you're probably as happy as he is today.
Yeah, and he, it's funny because he likes to point out, right, like that, we only have a certain amount of plays where, he's going out for a pass or getting to receive a ball, and I kind of over the course of the season have evolved away from a certain play, and he was like, "Hey, coach, what about we need to go back to that play," because that was my favorite play. And I was like, "All right, I'll look at it."
Well, maybe he's got a coaching career ahead of him too.
Right? Yeah. I get it. It's like you said, you try to reward him, right? Try to give him the ball.
There you go. What did you see that you think you need to get better at offensively?
I think that without saying too much, like I'm coming to some realities of what we can and what we can't do a little bit better in our passing game and in our total offense. Just looking at our successes and our failures and trying to just stay a little bit even more so at this phase going into the playoffs, playing towards our strengths, minimizing the exposure to chances of failure. I think would be the best way for me to put that.
Yeah.
And then right when I put together the game plans going forward, it's definitely going to be heavy strength, minimize risk, and then here's our best foot forward, right, against any team. And so for us, right, it's definitely our running game, and then getting better at passing situations. We're not a passing team, right?
Right.
So let's get better